Hello, I'm Matthew Heil, and welcome to another city update on the Street Transportation Department. Today, hear more about how your street could be changing for the better. Also, residents can provide feedback on a bicycle master plan. We'll tell you how. But first, let's talk about complete streets and what staff and residents are doing to make them a part of the future. Joining us today are Wylie Bearup, the director of Phoenix's Street Transportation Department, and Serena Unrein, public interest advocate with Arizona PIRG. Welcome to you both. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us, Matt.
Glad to have you. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was what exactly is a complete street? You know, we build them complete, I would assume, every time we create one, but what has changed about the way that we conceive of streets in Phoenix in particular since we started building up in 1950? I thought, Wylie, maybe you could start off.
When the city of Phoenix first developed, we grew very fast, and there was a tendency to build streets that were focused on cars. We were moving people a long distance very fast. And now we're looking back at the urban core as people move back into the urban core, and we're trying to accommodate all of their needs. So a complete street is a street that accommodates all of the users of the right-of-way: pedestrians, bicyclists, vehicles and trucks, transit buses, all of the users of the right-of-way, and that's what a complete street tries to do, accommodate all of their needs.
Serena, I know that Arizona PIRG has looked at how the travel patterns and way people are moving about the city has changed over the years. What is that change doing to how we want to accommodate people on our streets?
We're seeing that for the first time in 2 generations, there's actually a drop in the number of miles that people are driving on our roads. And we're seeing that there's an increase in public transit ridership and that more people are looking to walk and bike to get to work, to get to school, and to get all of the places that they need to go. And of course, our local governments should be providing our residents with all of the ways that they could be getting to all of the places that they need to go.
So that change in transportation method and mode is part of the reason that the city is looking at a complete streets policy. So could we get a little bit of background, Wylie, on how we started looking into getting a policy and where we got the idea to bring it forward?
Sure. Our new streets that we built and have built over the last few years have accommodated all of the users. We typically add bike lanes. We typically have wide sidewalks for pedestrians. Some of the roads in South Mountain area, for example, have hiking paths beside them. So our new construction recently has grown to accommodate all of those users. But as Serena said, as people in the urban core have different needs, we're trying to accommodate that. And it's a little challenging because the streets are built, the curbs are set, so to add a bike lane is not an easy thing to do. So we need some new design standards and we need a new policy, and that's why we're moving in this direction.
And I think that the City Council requested that we do this. We're working through a process with a working group that Serena is participating in. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit, Serena, about what the working group did to help us develop the policy and what they've been doing to outreach about it.
Sure. The Phoenix Complete Streets Working Group, around the same time the city was really looking to adopt a complete streets policy, the working group had seen that there was really this national movement to make our streets complete and make them safe, convenient, accessible, and comfortable for all users at all times. And so we banded together and worked with the city to develop a policy and do outreach to residents of Phoenix to make sure that they knew about this complete streets policy and that we were providing good input on both a policy expertise level to the city as well as users of the streets providing some good input to the city as well.
Excellent. What kind of feedback have you gotten so far?
The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. People are excited that this is the direction the city is moving. They want to be able to bike to work, have their kids walk safely to school, be able to conveniently and safely access public transit. So people are really excited that this is where the city is going.
The document is a little technical, but it is available online on our website at phoenix.gov/streets. And we're taking feedback right now, I believe, through the website. And also, as you do presentations out in the community, we're taking feedback as well. So we continue to welcome that feedback going forward. Is there anything that we should know about when the process is going to wrap up, Wylie? What we'll see at the end of the year?
Well, we're taking that feedback now with a goal to, as you said, Matt, to finish the input period at the end of the calendar year, and then we look to come back to the Transportation and Infrastructure Subcommittee sometime early next calendar year and follow that up with a full council approval sometime perhaps early spring.
And once this policy, if it's adopted, is in place, what do we think happens next?
Well, what it'll do will help us in the funding process as we look at projects as we go into the future, as we update our capital improvement program, as we craft those projects that go into our CIP. They'll be designed in such a way that it'll accommodate all of the users of the right-of-way.
Excellent, excellent. Well, very much looking forward to hearing more of the feedback from the public and hopefully having a good experience getting this policy adopted. If anyone wants to get more information about the policy, it's available online at phoenix.gov/streets, and folks are welcome to read and email comments directly to me if they like, or to our department generally. Thank you both for joining us today. Next, stay with us while we find out how you can help make Phoenix a more bikeable city. Welcome back to another city update on streets. The city wants to make Phoenix a more bikeable place to live, and you can help. City staff will be conducting public meetings to hear your ideas for making Phoenix a more bike-friendly community. Joining us today is Joe Perez, bicycle coordinator with the Street Transportation Department. Thank you for being here, Joe.
Thank you, Matt.
Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at the city?
So I'm the bicycle coordinator for the city of Phoenix. I bike to work every day. I own a number of bicycles, everything from a regular everyday single speed to a racing bike, mountain bike, cargo bike, magnesium bike, and I even have a fixed gear.
Oh, wow. And so what does all that knowledge allow you to do as the bicycle coordinator for the city?
Well, I get to see the conditions of Phoenix bike lanes every day when I ride to work. I get to see the condition of Phoenix bike lanes every weekend when I ride on the weekends to run errands or ride in the canals. So I'm pretty familiar with a lot of the bike lanes in Phoenix.
Okay, so we're working through this process of developing a citywide bike master plan, which is part of our Complete Streets effort to make streets accessible for all users, in this case specifically for bicycle riders. Could you tell us a little bit about what is included in this bicycle master plan, what we're trying to get feedback on?
Yes, it's been a number of years since we've had an update to the bicycle master plan. The bicycle master plan will include elements such as bike lanes and bike routes, shared lane markings, and other facilities such as green paint to make it more obvious to motorists and bicyclists where bicyclists should be traveling.
Okay, one of the key components of this, of course, is feedback from the community about where they see problems, where they'd like to be able to ride. So what are we doing to get feedback from the public about how they bike and where they'd like to bike?
So specifically for the bike master plan, there are a number of opportunities for people to provide input. One is through the public meetings in October. Those are October 22nd, 24th, 29th, and the 30th. People can also go online to phoenix.gov/streets and then click on the icon that says Bicycle Master Plan and follow that icon to a wiki map, which will allow people to input where they bike currently, where they'd like to ride, and some of the conditions they find challenging in the city.
So this wiki map, I want to talk about this a little bit more. It's a really interesting tool. It allows folks to go online and do a lot of different things. Can you describe it a little bit?
The wiki map is kind of like any sort of online mapping tool where you're trying to get directions or give directions to someone else to a place you're trying to go. So for instance, if you live downtown or live in Laveen and you're trying to get from one to the other, so you want to get from downtown to Laveen or from downtown to Anthem or from downtown to Tempe or downtown to the west side at 107th Avenue, Camelback, you can look at the bike lanes that are existing and trace your route that you normally take or trace a route that you'd like to take there and indicate along the way, are there any barriers to cycling? Is there a freeway in the way with no bridge? Is there a canal in the way with no bridge over the canal? Those kinds of things.
So the other question would be then, what do we do with that information? Once we've got all that feedback, what happens?
Well, so we'll collect this information, we will synthesize it into a plan, we'll prioritize the new bike lanes and new infrastructure based on a number of things, everything from financial and monetary budgets down to connectivity to transit, connectivity to light rail, connectivity to schools and parks. We want people to indicate if they go to a park on a bike but there's no bike lane there, if they take their children to school and there's no bike lane to school.
And that kind of dovetails into a lot of other things that the department does in terms of providing safe routes to school and working with the community to provide safe movement of traffic of all kinds, which this bike master plan will assist. So we're taking feedback through October into the beginning of November, working with a consulting firm, I believe, also to check out all of these facilities and see how price-wise they fit into the budget. This will go into the citywide capital improvement program and various other efforts as we're working through that. What do we expect to see at the end of the year? It'll go to City Council most likely?
So there are a number of other steps after the data is collected. The consultant should look at other cities such as Portland and Minneapolis and Boulder and see how bike friendly they are and what elements in those cities can we bring to Phoenix. The plan after that will go to the Transportation Infrastructure Subcommittee and then go to City Council after that for approval. We want all this to be done as soon as possible, but no later than March of 2014. December, we should have a draft out for people to analyze. People can also call me on my phone or email me at bike@phoenix.gov to provide input.
Great, that's wonderful. So we'll keep an eye out for what's happening in March. Was there anything else that you'd like to add about the process and that hopefully we'll be getting a lot of feedback from folks? It sounds like we're starting to get some feedback coming in.
Well, certainly. Attitudes have changed about bicycling over the last 20 years. As the director said earlier, there's lots of activity that the city is now promoting. Attitudes have changed at City Hall and in the public. If you're out there bicycling, make sure you bicycle safely, bicycle on a bike lane when available. Motorists should give 3 feet when passing cyclists. There's lots of things to do to promote cycling. Please go out and ride all you can. You should definitely ride where you feel safe. You should ride with a friend, ride with your mom and dad, ride with aunts and uncles, ride with your partners, ride with people that you enjoy riding with. Riding by yourself is great, but it's a lot more fun when you ride with other people.
Excellent. Well, and that's key, I think. Education and learning more about our bikeway system and biking in general helps us all.
Sure, and teenagers aren't getting their driver's licenses at the same rate they were getting in the past. So teenagers don't want the burden of driving a car. They don't want to pay for expensive gas. They want to pay for expensive insurance and maintenance. They want to have an expensive car payment. So it's much easier for people who don't want those burdens to bike around instead of pay for things that are really expensive.
Excellent. Well, I hope that we have a really good end result to our process and a great bike master plan when we're all done. Thank you very much for being here with us, Joe. I really appreciate all the information.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today, and for more information on complete streets or bikeability, call 602-262-6284 or go to phoenix.gov/streets. Again, I'm Matthew Heil for City Update.